Well, I'll tell you how it all like came to pass that I got started on in the first place. I was a reporter at the Baltimore Sun, and I wrote about all sorts of things, but I had done a few stories about dogs, including some stories about him. I did a story where he's from the shelter in Baltimore, so I did a story where I seek out his roots. They didn't really know anything about him. They said he was a hound mix, and they said he was going to be a medium-sized dog. So clearly they didn't know what they were talking about.
I've seen DNA.
Yeah, we've done that test. We did that test the first time in connection with that series of stories, trying to find out about his past. And each time, and we did 2 more times for subsequent stories from our website. And each one was a little bit different. The first one said he was Rottweiler and Chow. The second one said he was Rottweiler, Kita, and Chow. And the third one said Rottweiler, Kita, Chow, and Pitbull. And the third one used, there's one where you can just swab the cheek and send the swab in. So we did that the first 2 times, but there's another one. It's supposed to be more reliable, supposedly, where you get the vet to take blood and actually test it. Cheek swab. So anyway, I was like, they knew I liked dogs, my bosses, and this was like 2005 or so, and all the newspapers were finally, deciding we needed to get into this internet thing and start doing blogs, and so they were getting everybody to do blogs on any subject they could think of. So they started the pets blog. So which was mostly about dogs. And one day it was the sort of blogs where you're not really doing your own research and writing, you're more just getting something that's already been written, linking to it, mentioning it in a few paragraphs. So I stuck a little thing on there about a woman who wasn't identified at the time, an anonymous woman who was getting her dog cloned in Korea for $150,000. Yeah. And so it was just like 3 paragraphs or so. And the next morning I came into work and checked my phone messages, and there were like 20 phone messages from this anonymous woman who I was, a fan of the blog, even though she was in California, and relating her whole incredible story. I doubted it first being a reporter, but that started off, a long conversation that would continue over the next year. At that point, she originally signed up with the American company. There's an American company that formed. It was out of the research going on at Texas A&M, and that was all funded by a guy named John Sperling, who's the president, the founder of the University of Phoenix, the online university. It's not just in Phoenix, it's everywhere. Very one of the richest men in the country. And he had a girlfriend. It wasn't his wife, but a woman that he'd been involved with for probably 40 years by then. Sometimes hung out together, but they didn't actually live together. But she had a dog named Missy, and he decided right after the cloning of Dolly the sheep, which is one of those people remember, 1990 something. I won't say because I don't remember exactly. But when that came out in the papers, he saw it and he said, well, we should clone Missy. So he signed his girlfriend's son, who was between jobs at the time, to sort of go scope out universities that might be able to accomplish it, with the idea that he would fund all the research. So they selected Texas A&M and gave them, can't be specific, millions and millions and millions of dollars to try and clone Missy, who was a mutt, spayed, which is a big factor in why people want to get their dogs cloned. She was a part Siberian Husky, Border Collie, maybe Wolf or Wiltshire. So the scientists at Texas A&M set about trying to clone Missy. And they worked on it for about 2 years. They didn't succeed. Sort of in the process, sort of to improve their learning curve, they cloned other animals. First to clone a bull, first to clone a cat, a deer, pig, goats. They pretty easily accomplished all the other ones, but dogs proved to be a lot more difficult to clone because the dogs' egg cells, well, one, because female dogs only go into heat like once, twice a year, and also their egg cells are not transparent. We can't see right through them, so it makes working with them more difficult. So they kept trying and trying. The company that formed was called Genetic Savings and Clone. And they were in business, and they were accepting pet owners' pets' cells. They would bank the cells, and they said, someday we're going to be able to clone these. And so a lot of people signed up and banked the cells in hopes that a dog would come to pass.
Do they save? Do they save very well?
Yeah, they're pretty. Even after a dog has died, there's a period where you still harvest them. The samples, I think, was never a big problem. But there were other problems. So the company was accepting cells and making this promise. This would be like the late 1990s. Then the company and Texas A&M had a falling out when they cloned the first cat, because of the first cat clone didn't look anything like the donor cat, which is sort of what it's all about, is to make it identical at this point.